I spent the last 2 months doing absolutely nothing, and here's what I learned. I finished 2025 off deciding that I really needed to spend some time reflecting and being quiet and really grounding myself and figuring out what I actually wanted my life to look like, because I spent a lot of time doing a lot of different things, but never really feeling super centered or super purposeful in them. And so I really wanted to spend some time where I figured out what I'm about. So I spent the last 2 months, January, February, really centering myself, really being quiet, and really being honest with myself about what I wanted, what my brand is all about, what I'm all about, what my purpose is, and what I want to provide, the value that I want to provide for people. So I wanted to share with you sort of the process that I went through to bring myself some focus. And not only focus, but being authentic. Because I think that we get so wrapped up in the trends or growth strategies or what people say we need to do in order to grow, in order to succeed, in order to make something of ourselves, and at the end of everything, in order to make more money. And I just felt very empty by all of those aspirations. And so I said, I really need to just spend some time understanding who I am, what my drive is, what pushes me forward, and how I am going to show up, how I'm going to present myself, how I'm going to package myself, and what I'm going to create in order to offer value. So this is my sort of 3-step, 3-phase, 3-part process, like the Trinity process, I'm going to say, for finding that center and focus. So the first thing that I did is that I spent a lot of time reflecting. Okay, reflection time is crucial. And honestly, every single moment in my life that I've had a breakthrough or that I've discovered something or that I've improved in some fashion began and ended with reflection. And for me, reflecting typically looks a lot like journaling. Okay, so it looks a lot like, okay, this topic is on my mind, so I'm going to write about it. I'm just going to journal about it. I'm just going to sort of do a word vomit on paper, pen in hand, on the paper. That is one of the most effective ways for me to journal, not only for the sake of journaling, but to gain clarity. Once I'm getting the words out, once I'm just spewing them and getting them out on paper, it's almost like my mind starts to put pieces together and I'm able to understand better, okay? I'm able to be a little bit more concise. I'm able to have focus. I'm able to lock in on, oh, this is what I mean, right? This is what I want to focus on. And so journaling a lot, honestly, helped me gain so much understanding. It helped me gain so much clarity about what I was doing and what I wasn't happy about. That was a major thing, is that it was like, okay, so what am I not happy about? What about where I'm at now am I not happy about? What am I not happy with? What are the things that I'm happy not to be doing, right? Because there are things that I removed myself from, as I talked about in my some of my December videos. There were things in my life in 2025 that I removed myself from, that it's like, I'm happy I'm not doing that anymore, right? I'm happy that is not my mode of life anymore. So this reflection period, it really offered for me this time where it was like, okay, you know what? Reflecting on the things that I'm happy I'm not doing, so I don't want to go back to doing them, and the things that I really want to get back to doing, the things that it's like, oh, I'm anxious to get back to that. I'm anxious to, start creating that again, or start doing that again, or start engaging with that again. Really understanding the things that set me on fire and the things that doused my fire. Really gaining clarity on, what? This is just lighting me up. And when you understand the things that are lighting you up in some capacity, when you understand the things that are setting you on fire, then you're able to really focus in on those things. You're able to focus in on the purpose behind those things. And when you really understand the purpose, then, that fuels you, okay? That fuels you more than anything else when you understand the purpose behind something that you're doing. Money is great. Money is fantastic. Money is wonderful to have. Money is a wonderful resource, all of those things. But if you don't have a purpose, if you don't have the impact that you're trying to make top of mind, then everything you do feels really empty. Everything you do feels pointless, because at the end of the day, money is just a thing. And so spending this time and reflecting, it really helped me ground myself in, oh, this is my purpose. This is my fuel. This is my fire. This is the message I'm trying to share. This is what I'm trying to do. This is how I'm trying to impact people. Really gaining clarity on that and understanding that. And that enabled me to dig into the areas of interest that I had, because my purpose was at the core and at the center of every single interest and every single, hobby and quirk and passion that I have. My purpose is at the center of that. And so I was able to dig into those interests. I was able to dig into those passions and say, okay, like, how does my purpose pour into those? How does my purpose serve those? How does my purpose fuel those? How do I want to approach those now that I'm right? How do I want to approach those with this new mindset that I'm developing? Not only that, but how do they all connect, right? How do they all connect? How do they all communicate? What's the golden thread that's tying everything together? What is that, right? So just sort of spending time in reflection, tearing myself apart so that way I could put myself back together. When we're just this ball of energy doing, what ends up happening is that we completely lose sight of why we're doing anything at all. We're taking action and we're rolling and we feel like we're moving forward because we're busy. But when we really look at it, it's like, I haven't achieved anything. I've lived another year and I've achieved absolutely nothing. And so when you take some time sort of ripping yourself apart and taking some time when you're not doing anything, right? I completely stopped. I stopped doing all social media. I stopped doing everything. And I really spent time saying, like, picking myself apart and pulling myself apart and saying, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Is that what I want to do? And when I really figured out that it's like, oh, like, yeah, this is what I really want to do, and this is what I really don't want to do, I was able to put myself back together in a more simplified and more cohesive way. So I really gained a lot of clarity during this time of reflection, this time of quiet, this time of doing absolutely nothing, right? I was doing my job, but in terms of, the creativity and the, putting myself out there and the public, doing, the social media doing, I did absolutely nothing. I was just quiet, I reflected, and I tried to understand myself better. The second thing I did was I spent a lot of time recentering. And this, obviously it ties into reflection, but with this, I did things in private. Like I said, I was not posting on social media. I wasn't, creating things for social media. And for me, what that represented is that I was not trying to process or recreate myself or put myself back together in public, but I was doing it privately. Because personally, for anybody who knows me, for anybody who's been around for a while, right? You know that I have been through a lot of different things. I've done a lot of different things. I've been in a lot of different niches. I've tried a lot of different things. I've experimented with a lot of different things. And what ended up happening is that it was like I would, tie my entire identity to something, and then it was like, nope, that's not quite right. And so I would have to almost reinvent myself in public. And so what ended up happening is that I didn't understand who I was. The people, who were consuming my content, who were consuming what I did, they didn't understand who I was. Nobody understood who I was. And so I took the time where it was like, okay, I'm going to pick something, okay? I'm going to pick this focus and I'm going to really focus in on it. I'm going to come up with content ideas. I'm going to play with it and experiment with it. I'm not going to post anything. I'm going to play with it. And I'm going to see if this turns into something different and morphs into something different and into a different approach that feels more authentic and genuine to me. And so, I did that a couple of times in the matter of 2 months. That's the pace that I would oftentimes change what I was creating in public and online was, within a matter of weeks, within a matter of, a couple months, it was like, that's not quite right. And then I'd change. And so I really spent the time doing it in private. I spent the time creating and brainstorming and pulling things together and planning in private. So that way, when I hit a point where it was like, that's wrong, well, I didn't have to backpedal on, for everybody to see. Instead, I was able to say, okay, that's just wrong. Just throw that in the garbage, try again, play again. experiment again, focusing, honing, really refining the idea, really refining the approach to my personal brand and the value that I'm wanting to offer people. And so I did that in private. It really helped me to understand what my priorities were for different things, right? It allowed me to understand that it's like, okay, these are all the things that I want to do, and I definitely want to do all of them, but the priority or what I label them is going to be different, So for instance, I'm a business consultant and I consult with independent business owners. Okay, that is my career. That's my career. Well, for years, I thought I wanted a couple of other careers to go along with this business consulting career. I thought I wanted to have a career on YouTube. I thought I wanted to have a career of being a writer. And during this time, I really dug into, I picked myself apart and I was pulling myself back together, and it was like, I really don't want to have a career in those things too. Like, I want business consulting to be my career. So what are these other two things? Because I want to do these other two things, but where are they on the priority? What's their label? What's their classification? And it was like, okay, so for YouTube, that feeds into my business. I want to use that to feed into my business and to help my business and to be an element, to be a product, to be a value added to my business. With the writing, I discovered that it's like, this is my passion. This is my passion. This is something that it's like, this is, something that comes from my heart. This is something that I poured myself out on. This is my art form. This is my craft. This is not my career. And so it changed how I approached, publication, right? Do I want to go the traditional route and try to build a career? Or am I going to go a different route that enables me to say, you know what? I do this in my free time. This is a passion project. This is where I'm pouring myself out, and I do it on my own time. There's nobody telling me what to do. This is just me being creative and pouring myself out. And so this time of recentering allowed me to classify and understand all the elements that I wanted to put back together. It helped me understand how I was going to put them back together. And when I understood how I was going to put them back together, the level of confidence that I had, the amount of, revived confidence I had, I'm going to say, where it was like, oh, like this is who I am and this is what this is to me. I don't have to reinvent myself every other month because, I want to promote something different, or, I want to talk about something different. Instead, I can just be my whole self, right? I can be my entire self, and I can share all the elements of myself without fear that I'm confusing people, without fear that people are looking at my personal brand and looking at what I create and saying, like, who is this girl, right? Instead, I can say, no, it all fits together. It definitely all fits together. It's me. It fits together. But I'm able to classify it in a way and present it in a way, because I spent time recentering and putting the pieces together quietly and in private, I'm able to present them in a way that people are able to digest, that I'm able to digest. And the third thing that I did during this period was that I did a lot of planning and preparation. Okay, so that's sort of what I consider winter period to be, okay? So we already did the reflection and the recentering, and winter, that is what winter is. Winter is sort of this period of time where we're resting, where we're being calm, we're being sort of internal, we're going inward, and we're thinking, and we're pondering, and we're preparing for the warmer seasons ahead, okay? We're storing up energy, we're storing up ideas, we're brainstorming, we're really gaining that clarity. And so for planning and preparation, I used all the work that I did during my reflection, during my recentering. I used all of that work and I put it together, right? Like I said, I spent a lot of time, planning things and then saying, no, that's not right. Well, I also spent a lot of time planning things and saying, that is correct, right? I understood, this is sort of my model. This is sort of my approach. I understood that kind of stuff. I did a lot of content preparation or content idea generation, brainstorming and pulling things together. I did a lot of planning what I want everything to look like. I did a lot of, this is what my brand looks like. This is what this, my little nugget of a personal brand, that's what I represent. And I put that together and I planned it and I prepared it, preparing for the spring season. because the spring season is all about launching and going forward and moving in and, doing the thing. But I used this period of time to plan and prepare that. I used this period of time to really gain clarity and then prepare based on that clarity. A major question that I asked myself in order to prepare effectively, because I think that sometimes we get into this preparation phase and we get really stuck in like the nitty-gritty things, right? We get stuck in that, oh, well, I have to build this, beautiful this, that, or the other, and, this elaborate, whatever. I started asking myself the question, what do I have to do today in order for this to work tomorrow? Or what do I have to do today in order to feel prepared tomorrow? Okay, so for instance, if I want to be able to grow my consulting business, if I'm nervous about gaining new clients, I ask myself, okay, what do I need? What do I need in order to, if I got a brand new client tomorrow, what do I need in order to feel prepared? What do I need to do right now, today, in order to say, oh, I'm totally ready for that. I'm totally confident in that. I'm totally confident in the value that I can provide. I'm totally confident in the conversation that we're going to have. I'm totally confident, right? What do I need to do today in order to do that? And it could be something as simple as, well, I need a list of questions. It could be something as simple as, I need to know what I'm going to ask them. It could be something as simple as, I need to, have the outfit I'm going to wear, or I need to know where I'm going to meet somebody, or I need to, right? A lot of times it's something very simple. It's something so simple that enables you to feel confident, and that enables you to feel ready, and that enables you to feel like this is going to work, right? A lot of times it's something super simple. And so I asked myself that question. What do I need to do right now, today? And that helped me prepare effectively instead of saying, oh, well, in order to make this work, I have to have, this special workbook and all of these special questions and this, certain system and this model and this framework. And I have to have a website built and I have to have these kinds of web page, like heavens no, like that is way too much to think of. I needed to have something very simple, something very basic. And it doesn't have to be this elaborate whatever in order for you to be ready. A lot of times, all it takes is questions. A lot of times, all it takes is something super simple in order for you to feel prepared and ready for whatever it is you're launching to launch. So those are the 3 things that I really focused on doing during the first 2 months of the year here, is really just gaining clarity and gaining understanding. And you might be thinking, oh, well, winter's past, January and February are over and spring's right around the corner, so I can't do that. No. What I learned from this season, the biggest thing I learned from this season is the power of stopping. I think that we are programmed now. We're programmed to be productive and we're programmed to take action. And a lot of times people relate failure to you must just be lazy, right? You're lazy, you're not working hard enough, yada, yada, yada. That was not my problem. I'm not a lazy person. I was working my tail off, burning the candle at both ends. Sometimes you need to stop, okay? Sometimes you need to stop because personally, I am a serial action taker. I have an idea, I do it, okay? Like that is my problem. Like it's a problem. And so what I had to do is I had to stop long enough to find my level ground, to find this is where I want to stand, right? This is where I am. This is where I am. And it allows me to grow and expand and explore new ways, but it provides me with the focus that I need to provide value and to feel confident in what I'm doing and to feel authentic and to feel locked in and to feel passionate, right? To stay engaged with that passion. And so this period of time, it really did teach me the power of stopping. And it taught me the power of slowing down and actually reflecting, okay? Because again, we love the words taking action and productivity, getting stuff done. But if you do not stop long enough to know where you're going and to point your ship in the right direction, you're just going to be taking action and being productive in a lot of different areas and getting more and more lost. And that was my problem, is that I was trying to do so many different things. I was listening to so many different voices telling me to do this, to do that, create this, to build this, or, whatever, offer this. I wasn't actually understanding. I didn't know what I actually wanted to do. And so when I took the time to say, okay, you know what? Like, I'm going to stop long enough to know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stop long enough to understand who I am, and I'm going to stop long enough to understand the value that I can provide. Once I did that, I mean, it just gave me so much clarity, and now I'm able to point my boat in the right direction. Now I can take action and I can move forward. Because if we're taking action, but we don't know where we're going, we don't know where our boat is pointed, if our boat is just sort of floating nowhere, not pointed in a focused direction, then it doesn't matter how much action you take. It doesn't matter how productive you are. If you do not know where you're going, then you're not going to go anywhere. And so I really do encourage you, even though winter is coming to an end, take time to stop, whether that's for a weekend, whether it's for a week, whether it's for a day, whether it's for 2 months like it was for me. Stop long enough to gain clarity, to remove the voices and say, you know what? I'm gonna lock in and I'm gonna understand who I am. If you're liking how this video is feeling, if you're liking how this vibe is going, then I would highly encourage you to subscribe so that way you don't miss any more of my future videos, because I have some good stuff coming for you and I'm really excited about it.